Okay, next I want to talk about EMI, or EMI shielding. And EMI stands for electromagnetic interference. And basically we're talking about cabling. All right, so the cabling, whether it's Cat 5, Cat 6, what have you, that cabling is subject to EMI and also to crosstalk. In other words, if we run the cables too close to each other, too close to electrical wires, or maybe across fluorescent lights, okay, if we don't architect our cable runs properly, we can make our cabling susceptible to those things, okay, EMI and crosstalk. So Cat 5 and Cat 6, as an example, are what we use in typical installations, so we're going to cover that here. Cat 6 is a little bit better than Cat 5 in that it has a plastic sheath that runs down the middle, okay, it runs down the middle of the cabling, and it separates the wire pairs. So that helps with crosstalk. Doesn't really help as much with EMI, however, electromagnetic interference. So that is unshielded twisted pair. That's the most common type of cabling that you'll find in most installations. However, there's also shielded twisted pair, or STP. That's going to provide an additional layer of protection and make it basically more resilient or more resistive to EMI. And as you see in the graphic here, we have basically 4 pairs of wires, 8 wires inside of our cable. We have some foil wrapped around. We have basically 2 jackets that go on top and then a drain wire. So it's going to be able to absorb some of that EMI, and that grounding or that drain wire will go out to ground as well. So it helps to absorb that EMI and ground it out. But we have to make sure that we have the cabling and also the connectors grounded properly for that to take place. All right, so also we need to make sure that we're aware of cabling in general can also be susceptible to eavesdropping. All right, so when we're worrying about EMI, we should also be worrying about eavesdropping if in fact that is something that we need to worry about within our own data center, within our own cable runs and so forth. So copper emanates a signal that can be potentially picked up at short distances. So again, if someone's sitting within close proximity to our cabling and they have the right tools, they can potentially lift the communication off of that wire. All right, so if we have a very secure installation, then we may want to look at fiber, okay, and depending upon the actual type of communication that is traversing over those wires, we may want to look at protective distribution systems, or PDS, which we'll talk about in just a few moments as well. That would give us an even greater level of security. And then again, just encrypting the data that travels over those wires is another way we can help lock things down a bit. Okay, so encryption and secure transport mechanisms are really the best defense when we're talking about that situation, whether that be SSL and TLS, or SSH, or VPN, okay, VPN in general. So if we can encrypt that communication, then it really doesn't matter if someone's sitting close by and sniffing the wire, or they have some type of tool to pull information off of that copper cabling. Doesn't matter. It's encrypted. They're not going to be able to do much with it.